Hello, heroes. Joe Smith here again. You ready to learn some more stuff from Joe Smith? Good, because here's another episode of Joe Knows. Today on Joe Knows, we're going to talk about air fittings. You know how many different types of air fittings there are out there? 3? 4? Would you guess maybe 5? Joe Smith, pause for a sec and post in the comments below how many different types there are and can you name them? Okay, are you ready for the answer? There's 11. And then at least one company makes the 5-in-1 universal. It's a female coupler, kind of like this, but you can put 5 different types of male fittings, like these over here, into it. And it works for pretty much the 5 most common ones for 1/4 or 3/8 inch holes. Why are there so many fittings, you ask? Well, for the most part, it's because back long time ago in land far away, had different companies made their own air fittings. And one company made one style, then another company saw it and decided they want to get in on the market, and to get around the patent, they shaped it just a little bit differently. But it still works the same. And that's kind of how we got so many. And then also when they started using 1/2-inch arrows, and they had to make some new air fittings for the 1/2-inch airlines. Here's an example of a 1/2-inch airline here. We got a Tecton lead-in line that can run from a compressor to hard piping on a wall or something like that. But nowadays, all the patents that those different companies have all expired, so any company can make any type of air fitting they want nowadays. Your most common ones that most of you probably have are your Type M, which are these right here. Same thing. Here's a Type M male with a female pipe thread. Here's a Type M male with a male pipe thread. And these are both 1/4-inch MPT National Pipe Thread. They're for use on 1/4-inch or 3/8 airlines. We usually have the female fitting on an airline because the airlines come with male pipe thread fittings on them. And as you can see here, 1/2-inch male fitting with a female 1/2-inch MPT female thread on the base, going on to the 1/2-inch MPT male threads of the air holes. Your male threaded fittings like this here are usually going to screw onto your air tools. Same way with your air couplers. If you have air coupler with male threads like this, usually that will screw into your air pipe that's on your wall, or else to your compressor. Then the fittings that have the female threads on the female couplers are usually for your air holes. Had to order a couple more for for this hose and other hose that Joe Smith has, so those are on their way. But I'm going to show some different ones here. So here's an M-type, which was originally made by Milton. Here's a Type A, which was originally made by the Arrow Company, A-R-O, Arrow, however you say it. There's a Type AA, which is like this, but bigger for half-inch airlines. Real quick, just go ahead and mention the different types. There's a Type A right here. There's an AA, which is a bigger version of this. It's an AMT. There's a D. There's a G, which is this right here for half-inch airlines, and we'll talk about that a little bit more. There's an H. There's an L, which is for Lincoln, which this female coupler right here on this adapter is a Type L. And the Type L is kind of like the Type M, but longer. Originally, Joe Smith thought L meant longer, but no, it is for Lincoln. Lincoln Company made it originally. And then, again, your Type M for Milton. There's a Type P. There's a Type T, which is also referred to as an automotive style, which is right here. And then there's a Type V, which is this one right here, which is your Type M, but a little bit bigger diameter inside for higher SCFM airflow. So that's your 11 different types. Let's look at them a little bit more closely now. We got a Type M, Milton on the right, and a Type V, high flow on the left here, the purple one. First of all, you can see the outside is pretty close to the same. The purple one looks like it's a little bit bigger diameter. But otherwise, ridge is the same and it looks similar. And when you turn the look like this, yeah, you can definitely see the purple one has a bigger internal opening than the M on the right there. In fact, Joe Smith just upgrade all the fittings in Home Shop to these Type V's here. Also, just a quick side note, air fittings are made in 3 different materials for the most part. There's aluminum ones, like these purple ones here. These are actually anodized aluminum. We got brass fittings, and we got steel fittings. What material's best? Well, if it's going to be outside all the time, you probably want to go with brass or aluminum, because the steel is going to get all rusty and that on you. If it's going to be inside all the time, then probably don't really matter. Some people think that the aluminum ones on the air hose, if the air hose gets dropped and bang around, they'll break. Joe Smith hasn't really had any past experience with aluminum fittings. These are first aluminum fittings Joe Smith's ever had. So Joe Smith probably have to do a future video talking more about the different air fittings, and if any of the aluminum ones have broke. But the aluminum ones are supposed to be just as strong as the others. Joe Smith's had a lot of issues over the years at the home shop, having to replace air fittings on the hose reels or whatever because they just keep leaking, and now after switching to all brand new Type V aluminum ones, there's no leaks in their system now. Again, brand new, just did it. Let's see how long it lasts. Joe Smith give you updates in the future here. Another thing about the Type V, here's a female Type V. They are backwards compatible with the Type M. And in case you didn't notice, Joe Smith just hooked the two together one-handed while holding his cell phone videoing. It's because these new V-types are there we go, an easy quick connect type that only needs one hand, which Joe Smith kind of liked. Whereas, and it's not just a feature on this particular brand. And it's not just a V-type or that. Joe Smith has some female couplers like this that are M-type that have the same one-handed quick connect feature just like all this here. So it's not exclusive to the one brand. It's not exclusive to the one type. You can still get it on other types as well. Now let's compare the Type M to the Type A, the Arrow. Got the M on the left, the A Arrow on the right there. The openings are pretty much same size. The only difference is the ridge. Again, Milton came up with one design, Arrow came up with the other. Not sure who came up with what first. But to get around the patent and to produce their own, one company just had to make the ridge a slightly different shape was all. Type M, the top and the bottom are pretty much of the ridge there. The top and bottom ridge are pretty much the same. The Type A, it's a more gradual slant on the bottom and then flatter on the top. So that's how you tell the difference there. Let's compare the Type M to Type T Automotive. Now here you actually see a noticeable change. This is quite a bit different. Openings are pretty close to the same. If you measure, the Type T Automotive might be a millimeter bigger. And just so you can see the Type T Automotive on the left and the Type A Arrow on the right there. Difference there. And then again the T Automotive and the V High Flow. Now here's a Type G, which Joe Smith uses on his air tools that require 1/2-inch air line for higher air volume, and has air coupler and air hoses as Home Shop that uses this, and just added air coupler on the More Shop compressor to hook up a 1/2-inch air line and use 1/2-inch airline tools the More Shop if needed too. But you can see this is a lot bigger, a lot more airflow. A lot of tools, especially like 3/4 or 1-inch impacts, or your air sanders. It's not the PSI that matters, it's SCFM, your standard cubic feet per minute airflow. You just need air volume going through to power them. And even though the compressor might put out 125 psi, it might not have a motor capable of pumping enough air per minute to run that air tool. So if you're going to use a fitting like this, you're going to need a compressor with a big enough pump. It doesn't matter how big the tank is, you just need a big enough pump, usually a 2 or 3 piston pump, that's capable of producing enough air into the tank fast enough to handle the air escaping through a big holes like this and through a big fitting like this to your big air tool to run it. So when you're buying an air compressor, pay more attention to the SCFM than you do the PSI. They'll have about the same PSI usually, about 125. Unless you get like a great big one like Joe Smith's Home Shop has, and that's 175 and can be adjusted up to 200 psi. But it's not the PSI that you need, it's the SCFM that you need. So pay attention to those numbers instead. Type L, as we mentioned before, don't have a male one, just have the female coupler here. Don't know where it came from. Joe Smith just, some of these are just were purchased by Joe Smith, others just kind of accumulated, or maybe Joe Smith's dad gave them. Joe Smith forgets. But Joe Smith's dad used to kind of hand him down a lot of old stuff that he didn't need no more, so that might be where this came from, or it might have been on something Joe Smith got at auction or something, and took off and converted to the type he was using. And as you can see, Joe Smith's made some adapters here. And you can do this with any types you want, just by screwing one style male coupler onto another style female coupler. These are, Joe Smith has more adapters than just this that he made, but that way, if Joe Smith has a friend come over with an air tool that has a different air fitting on, Joe Smith can get out the right adapter. It's like, oh, your air tool has a Type L on, don't worry, don't need to unscrew a different fitting on. Here's an adapter. Plug this into Joe Smith's airline, and then plug this into the friend's Type L air tool. Here's an automotive to type M, type T to type N. Also, since type V, high flow, these purple ones, you can't go type V male into type M female, but you can go the other way around. So that way, if you want to do type V high flow on your air hoses and compressor and impacts and sanders to have more airflow, CFM going to them, you can do that. But then your air checks like this, for inflating tires or your little blowguns, you can leave them as your old type M. Save you some money instead of having to replace everything, because you don't need more airflow going through this, and it's backwards compatible. Just one benefit of the type V style. Joe Smith don't have any of the other types. All of Joe Smith's stuff pretty much has been type M that he's ever had, so he's got a bunch of type M fittings, and he just upgraded his stuff to the type V stuff. And the couple other fittings he had, other than the half-inch airline stuff, has just been random stuff that he accumulated from who knows where over the years, hand down from Dad, or was on in a box of something from an auction. But Joe Smith just wanted to kind of show you the main types. These are main types that you're going to run into. If you go to the Milton website, you're going to be able to order your type V, of course. You'll be able to order your type M, of course. You'll be able to order your type T. And they also have your type A for sale on that website. Plus they have G type 2. Otherwise, for some of these others, they're not really as common, not really in use much, a little bit harder to find. And most of you probably never even see them or hold one in your life. Most of you, the automotive or your, that one, this one, type M, and maybe type V, are probably all you're going to find, and some might even have an arrow. But those are the ones you're going to find the most often. Occasionally maybe a Lincoln type L. The others you'll probably never see and don't really need to worry about. One type more beneficial than the other, Joe Smith don't know. Joe Smith hasn't really done any testing or that. Joe Smith might have to give that Project Farm dude a call and see if he can rig up some sort of test to see which lasts the longest without leaking, or which one's better than the others. But it's just kind of preferential thing mostly. Joe Smith's dad uses or used to use when he was around, the automotive type T on all his stuff. So that's why Joe Smith has this adapter here. So when Joe Smith took his tools in that had the M type on it to Dad's house back when he was around, Joe Smith could just use this adapter here to hook onto Dad's airline and plug Joe Smith's air tools into it. Well, this video's got a lot longer than most Joe Knows episodes. Joe Smith wants to keep the Joe Knows episodes about 5 minutes, maybe 10. So we're already 25 minutes here. Sorry this gone so long. Hope it hasn't really bored you. Joe Smith just didn't know how else to explain this stuff and wanted to kind of compare this stuff to you and hopefully teach you about it and let you know more about it. So thanks for watching. Joe Smith signing out.